So we have this reading comprehension passage. It came in one of the CAT papers. On the left hand side, we have the passage, and on the right hand side, we have the questions. So we will take the passage first, we'll read the passage first, and then we will go ahead and take the questions. The first paragraph of the passage says that during the frigid season, it is often necessary to nestle under a blanket to try to stay warm. The temperature difference between the blanket and the air outside is so palpable that we often have trouble leaving our warm refuge. Many plants and animals similarly hunker down, relying on snow cover for safety from winter's harsh conditions. The small area between the snowpack and the ground, called subniveum, might be the most important ecosystem that you have never heard of. So what happens here in this first paragraph? The author sets the topic of the passage. He's talking about something called as subniveum, and he says that this subniveum might be the most important ecosystem that you have never heard of. Right? This is what he says. And what is the subniveum? He says many plants and animals similarly hunker down, relying on snow cover for safety from winter's harsh conditions. So this area between the snowpack and the ground provides protection from the harsh conditions of winter, and this, the author says, is the most important ecosystem. So let's see what exactly this subniveum is. The subniveum is so well insulated and stable that its temperature holds steady at around 32 degree Fahrenheit, that is 0 degrees Celsius. So the first sentence says that the subniveum's temperature is around 32 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit, sorry, so that is 0 degrees Celsius, right? Although that might still sound cold, a constant temperature of 32 degree Fahrenheit can often be 30 to 40 degrees warmer than the air temperature during the peak of winter. So the author says that during the peak of winter, this 0 degree could be 30 to 40 degrees warmer. That means the temperature outside the subniveum must be minus 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the subniveum, that is because of the subniveum, the temperature below could be 0 degrees Celsius, and that is warm enough to help. Because of this large temperature difference, a wide variety of species depend on the subniveum. So what does the author say? That the subniveum provides warmth, and a plenty of species depend on that. For many organisms living in temperate and arctic regions, the difference between being under snow or outside is a matter of life and death. Consequently, disruptions to the subniveum brought out by climate change will affect everything from population dynamics to nutrient cycling through the ecosystem. So the author has now introduced one more idea, and the idea is that of climate change. I always tell my students that you have to keep an eye on the proper nouns that come in the passage. Until until the second paragraph, or until the end of the second paragraph, we found that the word subniveum was used by the author. This subniveum provides warmth to the animals, and it's a sort of cover between the snow and the ground below, and this provides insulation. But the author says that disruptions to the subniveum brought about by climate change will affect everything. So subniveum can be affected by climate change, the author says. Let's go and take the next paragraph. He says the formation and stability of the subniveum requires more than a few flurries. Winter ecologists have suggested that 8 inches of snow is necessary to develop a stable layer of insulation. So the author says that 8 inches of snow is necessary for us to develop insulation. Depth is not only the factor, however. More accurately, the stability of the subniveum depends on interaction between snow depth and snow density. So he says depth is not the only factor, depth is not the only factor, it is density as well. Imagine being under a stack of blankets that are all flattened and pressed together. When compressed, the blankets essentially form one compacted layer. In contrast, when they are lightly placed on top of one another, their insulative capacity increases because the air pockets between them trap heat. Great depths of low density snow are therefore better at insulating. So the author says that greater depths of low density snow are important than high density snow. So the depth is one factor, no doubt about it, but the density is also the other factor. So low density is more important than high density. So he gives the example of the blankets to show that the subniveum depends upon snow depth and snow density. Depth is one thing which should be at least 8 inches, and the density has to be on the lower side, only then you would have the desired effect. Both depth and density of snow are sensitive to temperature. Scientists are now beginning to explore how climate change will affect the subniveum as well as the species that depend on it. At first glance, warmer winters seem beneficial for species that have difficulty surviving sub-zero temperatures. However, as with most ecological phenomena, the consequences are not so straightforward. Research has shown that snow season, the period when snow is more likely than rain, has become shorter since 1970. So, because of global warming, the snow season has become shorter. When rain falls on snow, it increases density of the snow and reduces its insulative capacity. Therefore, even though winters are expected to become warmer overall from future climate change, the subniveum will tend to become colder and more variable with less protection. So the author has made a very uh, startling statement. He says that because of climate change, the warmth will there would be greater warmth, but that greater warmth will have a negative impact on the subniveum. And how negative impact? It will make the subniveum colder, right? And therefore the protection that the subniveum used to give from the snow or from the cold outside would not be that good. The effects of a colder subniveum are complex. For example, shrubs such as crowberry and alpine azalea that grow around the forest floor tend to block the wind and so retain higher depths of snow around them. This captured snow helps to keep soils insulated and in turn increase plant decomposition and nutrient release. In field experiments, researchers removed a portion of the snow cover to investigate the importance of the subniveum's insulation. They found that soil frost in the snow-free area resulted in damage to plant roots and sometimes even the death of the plant. So what exactly do we have here in the last paragraph? The effects of a colder subniveum are complex. So if the subniveum is colder in the sense that the subniveum has to be warmer, but if it becomes colder, that is what the author says, that the subniveum will become colder because of climate change. If the subniveum becomes colder, then its effects are complex. And what are the effects? He says that shrubs such as crowberry and alpine uh, will be affected, and then something will happen to the plants, and then he says it might even result in the death of the plant. So the subniveum's impact would not be restricted only to colder winters, but also in other ways the subniveum impacts can be felt. So if you read the whole passage, you will find that this subniveum is the talk of the passage, right? Now what, how does it go? You have to we have difficulty in creating a map of this kind of passage. The reason is because the passage is very much scientific, and the things are not as easy for us to understand because most of the information that we have come across in this passage are new to us, right? I mean, we must not have heard of many things that we are reading right now in this passage. So the author introduces subniveum in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, he says that what is the subniveum and what are the requirements of subniveum. Then he goes on to say that how snow depth and snow density are important for subniveum to be there. Then he goes on to discuss the impact of climate change on subniveum. He says that subniveum makes becomes becomes colder because of climate change. And then he further says that it is not only the colder subniveum, but also some other effects that might result because of climate change on subniveum, right? So he has given lots of negative things of climate change on subniveum, and that has come towards the end of the passage. So we have done the mapping. We know that lots of details we haven't understood very clearly, but that is fine. You can't understand everything in the very first reading of the passage. We should go ahead and take a look at the questions and then see what extra effort we have to put in to arrive at the answers. Because you must remember that whenever you solve the questions, it is not necessary that you have to understand the complete passage thoroughly to mark the questions correctly. It's quite possible that you may have just a cursory understanding of the passage and still you might be able to mark the questions correctly. So look at this now. The first question tells us all of the following statements are true except. That means basically we have to mark the one that is not correct. So we have four statements and the one that is not correct becomes the right answer, right? So snow depth and snow density both influence the stability of the subniveum. Yes, we have discussed this in the second third paragraph. I think here we have that the it says here, correct? If you look at this is the first paragraph, the second paragraph, third paragraph, and the fourth paragraph. So when you go to the middle of the passage, the author says that snow depth and snow density are the two parameters that you need to have in shape for the subniveum to have desired effect. So the subniveum depends on what? The snow depth and the snow stability. So that is what we have in the first option. So this is true and therefore it is not the right choice because we have to mark for the except one, right? Climate change has some positive effects on subniveum. Now, who says that climate change has positive effects? In fact, if you read the entire passage, towards the last two paragraphs, the author has categorically said that the climate change will have negative impact on the subniveum. Not a single positive impact has come. So this straight away becomes the choice because this is not true. All of the following are true except, so the one that is not true becomes the right choice. B definitely, as you can see here, is not true and therefore is the right answer. Correct? Now there is no need for you to go and have a look at the other two choices. You might have a look. The subniveum maintains a steady temperature that can be 30 to 40 degrees warmer. Yes, definitely true. It is given there, right? In the second paragraph. Researchers have established the adverse effects of dwindling snow cover on surface. Yes, they have established the adverse effects of dwindling snow cover on subniveum. So we know that all the options except B are true and therefore B is the right choice. Second question, based on this extract, the author would support which of the following actions? So the author would support which of the following actions in the sense that we have to mark the option for which the author would definitely agree. So A says the use of snow machines in winter to ensure that snow cover of at least 8 inches of snow. Now the point is that the use of snow machines in winter. Now the problem is there lack of snow cover? And secondly, I mean, you might say that use of snow machines can actually replace the snow, no doubt about it. But then, what about its impact? What about the cost factor? What about its feasibility? I mean, you can bring rainfall, artificial rainfall, because the monsoon is becoming weaker. But to bring that artificial rainfall over the entire country of the size of India is not going to be a small thing. There would be cost, there would be feasibility, there would be viability factor as well. So simply making the statement A does not make sense simply because you feel that the snow cover is decreasing and therefore we can use snow machines and we can have the snow cover. Until we find a better option, we can't mark A. And there is definitely a better option. Look at this government action to curb climate change. Because if you curb climate change, then everything else will fall in place. Because the negative impact on the subniveum is because of climate change. So if we take care of climate change, we can undo that negative impact. So this becomes more a natural way of overcoming the problem, which the author has discussed. The author in the passage has discussed that climate change is causing lots and lots of harm to the subniveum. So, if the government action can curb climate change, the author would be very supportive of that because this is very much possible. Climate change is a human induced thing. Definitely would be supported by the author. A is something which you might feel the author would support, but the idea is that the use of snow machine and its feasibility and the cost factor and its practicality is open to question, and therefore A cannot be the right choice. Adding nutrients to the soil in winter. Again, we are focusing away from the subniveum part and adding nutrients. How will it have an impact on the subniveum? Nothing is very clear about it. So all C and D and A go out because once you take care of B, everything else falls in place. The nutrients in the soil has been discussed in the last paragraph. More shrubs has been discussed in the last paragraph. But if you curb climate change, everything else is taken care of. So climate change is basically the broader issue. And if you tackle the broader issue, all the minor issues will automatically get resolved. And therefore B is definitely the right choice. Now let's go ahead and take the third question. It says in paragraph 6, the author provides the example of crowberry and alpine to demonstrate that. Now, what is the purpose of crowberry and alpine as we see in the last paragraph? Correct? We have to understand that. Only then we would be able to mark the question. The author says that the effects of a colder subniveum. So, the subniveum provides warmth. But if the subniveum is not warm, then its effects are beyond the warmth that it provides. It means that its effects are complex. That means it goes beyond lots of things. Correct? So here it says that the effects of colder subniveum are complex. For example, shrubs such as crowberry and alpine that grow along the forest floor tend to block the wind and so retain higher depths of snow around them. This captured snow helps to keep soils insulated and in turn increase plant decomposition. In field experiments, researchers removed a portion of the snow cover to investigate the importance of the subnivean insulation. They found that soil frost in snow-free area resulted in damage to plant. So the colder subniveum can also result in damage to plant roots and sometimes even the death of the plant. So the colder subniveum not only affects the animals who are there in the colder region, it also affects the plants that are there in the colder region. So the author is giving the example of crowberry and alpine azalea to show that the effects of subniveum goes beyond the warmth that it provides. It sometimes has an effect on even the other things as well. So we have to mark the choice that is very close to that. What is the author trying to prove? Look at D. It says the stability of the subniveum depends on several interrelated factors, including shrubs on the forest. So basically, the shrubs of the forest. Look how exactly it works here. See, understand this. The shrub of the forest is helping you maintain the subniveum. It says here that 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 crowberry and alpine that grow along the forest floor tend to block the wind and so retain higher depths of snow around them. So these crowberry and alpine, they block the wind and therefore retain higher depths of snow. Correct? This captured snow helps to keep soils insulated. In field experiments, researchers removed a portion of the snow to investigate the importance of the subniveum's insulation. They found that the soil frost in the snow-free area resulted in damage to plants. So basically, subniveum goes beyond the warmth, and it says here the stability of the subniveum depends on several interrelated factors, including the shrubs of the forest floor. May be quite possible. C says the crowberry and alpine azalea are abundant in. No, this is not the message he's trying to give. Due to frigid temperatures in temperate and Arctic regions, the plant species that survive tend to be shrubs rather than trees. He doesn't say that the plant species that survive tend to be shrubs instead of trees. So again, this goes out. Despite frigid temperatures, several species survive in the. Again, if you look at the choices, only D is close to what we have. The stability of the subniveum depends on several interrelated factors. The subniveum helps the shrubs and the shrubs also help the subniveum. So it is basically two-way path. And D is the only one that makes sense. If you read all the choices, D is only close to what is given in the passage. So there is no doubt about option D being the right answer. Let's go ahead and take the question number 4. Which of the following statements can be inferred from the passage? Now, out of these 4, we have to mark the one that can be inferred from the passage. The difficulty with such a question is that you have the entire passage to check your answer. So you can't go to any specific part of the passage and find the answer. That's the challenge of this question. Nevertheless, we will read the options first. It's quite possible that by just reading the options, you might be able to mark the right answer. So A says, in an ecosystem, altering any one element has a ripple effect on all others. In an ecosystem, altering any one element has ripple effect on all others. So when you alter one element, that means if there is, let's say, if the subniveum, if the snow cover is altered, then the subniveum is affected, the plants are affected, lots and lots of things are affected. So in an ecosystem, altering one element means climate change. Uh, the change in the climate can actually bring in lots of changes in all the many other things. That is what precisely the passage discusses, right? It affects the animals, it affects the soil, it affects the plants. Looks good, definitely A looks good. B says climate change affects temperate and Arctic regions. Now, the author has not said that temperate and Arctic regions are affected more than the equatorial. In fact, the word equatorial hasn't even come in the passage. And there is no comparison that climate change affects these things more than those things. B is far-fetched. Nowhere has it been discussed in the passage. C says a compact layer of wool is warmer than a similarly compact layer of goose down. Now, compact layer of wool definitely is warmer, but a compact layer of goose down there is not anywhere given in the passage. In fact, the only place where you see the layer of wool coming in the passage is towards the middle of the paragraph, right? So if you move up here, it says that more accurately, the stability of the subniveum depends on the interaction between snow depth and snow density. Imagine being under a stack of blankets that are all flattened and pressed together. When compressed, the blankets essentially form one compacted layer. But we don't see anything of that kind where the layer of wool and the layer of goose has come into picture. I think this is far fetched. Nowhere has it come in the passage, so C also goes out. And D says the loss of subniveum while dredging will affect only. Again, the same problem as the problem in B. B talks about comparison between temperate, Arctic, and equatorial, which is not given in the passage. And D says it will affect only the Arctic regions. Now, the author has discussed the Arctic regions. That doesn't mean that the subniveum will affect only the Arctic regions. We don't have, I mean, the word only creates a problem. See, the subniveum might affect the Arctic regions. It might affect the loss of subniveum might affect the other things as well. because everything is interrelated. So you can't simply say that the loss of subniveum will affect only temperate. And firstly, if you're marking the answer, you should be very sure about it. The reason why we are sure about A is because the ripple effect can be seen. The ripple effect can be seen because if you look at the last paragraph, then it is having effect on the plants. It might result in plant damage. It might result in the soil getting weakened. So lots of things have been discussed in the last paragraph, which shows that in an ecosystem one element can have an impact on many other elements. So all the options go out except A, which is the right answer. Now, in paragraph 1, the author uses blankets as a device too. So, right, draw an analogy between blankets and snowpack. If you look at paragraph 1, if we move up here, we can see the snow blanket, the blanket and the snow has come in the discussion, correct? Here it is. So, it says that during the frigid season, it is often necessary to nestle under a blanket to try to stay warm. So, blanket gives you warmth. The temperature difference between the blanket and the air outside is so palpable that we often have trouble leaving our warm refuge. Many plants and animals similarly hunker down relying on snow cover. So the way we go under the blanket, there are lots and lots of animals that go under the snow. So the snow cover provides warmth, the way the blanket provides the warmth, right? So that is how you have. So the author says he's drawing an analogy between blankets and snowpack. Analogy basically means comparison. So C looks good. I think no other things look good here. I mean, straight away C is the right answer. Once you have the clarity of the answer, there is no need for you to go and check the other things, because the author uses blanket as a device to draw analogy, to draw comparison between the way blanket affects us. Similarly, the snowpack affects the animals. Correct. So C is the right answer. Overall, I would say a slightly challenging passage because it's not easy to understand the passage, but the questions were pretty much manageable.